Hey everyone, how is everyone doing today? Today we're doing an episode of Transformation Time. This is this is a show where we get to hear about our guest speakers' personal development journeys and the mindset shifts they have gone through while they've come into becoming entrepreneurs and real estate investors. It's always great to hear their journeys because it helps newer investors, follow their path. If you connect with the guest speaker, it kind of helps you figure out your path, especially if you see a lot of similarities. And even as we have more advanced, also investors, same thing, other investors that are looking to get to where those investors are, it's just nice to see. Because until you really I noticed that until you get into running some kind of business or being a real estate investor, do you really know, you start understanding that personal development and changing yourself to make those mindset shifts are pivotal for your growth. So let's have Sergio on. Excited to hear his story. Well, I mean, I know Sergio, but for you guys to get to know him.
Hi,
Hey,
Diana.
Sergio, how are you?
Good, good. And you?
Good. So let's get started. So tell everyone, where are you right now in your real estate investing journey?
Okay, so yeah, right now, as you can see, I'm at work because I still have a full-time job, but hopefully for not for long. That's my plan. So my wife and I started investing in real estate 5 years ago, and it has been really, really awesome. Uh, by the beginning of this year, we accumulated 15 properties in Ontario and Alberta, and that really allowed us to reach our goal, which is financial freedom, defined as a cash flow coming from the properties that is enough to cover our living expenses, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that was a really very fast fast forward story, right? The last 5 years, but yeah. So we started in 2017, purchasing single family properties in Welland, Ontario, with the goal of converting those to legal duplexes by adding a basement suite. So yeah, that's basically how we started. We were very, very focused on, just one area, one strategy that started to work, and then it was all rinse and repeat from there. Like at that
Awesome.
point in time, both my wife and I had full-time jobs, so we really had a very limited bandwidth to devote to real estate. So we had to make sure that we go deep on something, right? And we didn't distract ourselves with different areas, different strategies, etc. But we basically found something that worked, and then it was all rinse and repeat from there.
That's awesome. And so what would you say gave you guys the confidence to make that big jump to this year being able to get 15 properties in 1 year? Because I'm assuming at the very beginning it was
No,
probably a lot slower process, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
what
that's
got you to jump in and go much quicker? Like what helped you get that motivation and that push?
yeah. Actually, I thought about investing in real estate for many years, and I did nothing. It was, something that, I sensed that, okay, there could be an opportunity here, but at the same time, the real estate market, even before 2017, was going up every year, and I was thinking, okay, this is probably something that I already missed the train, right? I'm gonna get in, and that's when the market is gonna adjust, right? So I was not really thinking, thinking straight from that point of view, and I was actually scared. I was actually really scared in terms of, okay, what should I do? Where? Like I really was pretty scared about failing. And what really made the difference for us was coaching. like the
100%.
beginning of 2017. Yeah, I joined some groups. I almost bought a property in Woodstock, Ontario, that was going to be just a single family, and that would cash flow at best $100 per month. So it would be just waiting for appreciation. That's all it was. And we figured, okay, if we want to create, you know, a lot of monthly cash flow, we will have to have lots of properties if the cash flow is going to be only $100 each, right? So, but many people were basically pushing us towards doing something like that because they say, yeah, okay, you're starting right now, so you have to, make sure that you learn. So go with something that is not going to be much work, something that is completely turnkey. And I said, okay, that could be a way to go, but definitely the cash flow is never going to go there. So I almost embarked on a path that wasn't really going to take us far, or was probably going to take us to where many investors are right now, that they invested in, maybe quite a few properties, but they don't really have any cash flow. So that means that they are still trapped on their daily jobs, right, for income. So yeah, so when we even got that property under contract, and we backed out at the last minute, and that's when I said, okay, you know what, I need to learn how to do bigger deals, how to add value, how to create these duplexes or triplexes that will create at least $500 per month cash flow, because if not, this is never gonna work, right? Which wasn't easy because, as you know, initially the advice that we were getting, and I think this, since we're talking about transformation, and some new investors may be watching this, you really have to be careful where you get the advice from, because advice is usually quite biased. And you have a lot of realtors, a lot of people that are trying to sell you something quick and fast that really works for them because they make their commissions, but it doesn't really work for you, right? Because you are just a new investor that are buying a property that has no cash flow, and you are just hoping for appreciation. And hoping for appreciation is always the wrong way to play this game, because that is truly not investing, that is speculation. So yeah, we know that appreciation in the long term will likely happen. That's great, but you have to consider that as a bonus. You cannot plan on appreciation as the main business case, right? You really
Yeah,
have to
especially when
count
you're
on
running
cash
a
flow.
business, right? When you're running a business, it's very different than if you're just investing in property. Like if you invest in a property and you wait for appreciation, then fine, you're working at things a lot slower that way, because obviously you have no cash to reinvest. But I mean, that's not a business model. If you're wanting a business model, we need cash flow. We need to
But
be able to reinvest and continue to grow and grow our business. So, like you said, it's like there's different. It just depends on the model, right? Like us, we are trying to run a business, and when you're running a
exactly.
business, you really have to focus on what money's coming in, what money's going out. It's very important, because I mean, it's like this. It's like running a business, right? Like you need to make sure that you're making enough money to continue buying your next properties, and like the money that's going out is coming back in again.
Yeah. So when we realized that, okay, we have to get into those type of deals where we can add value, and that was the only way then, and this is Ontario 5 years ago, to create some decent cash flow. Then it goes much more difficult, right, to have any cash flow unless you really add value and have more than one unit in a property. So that's when I started, listen to a lot of podcasts, trying to understand, how more experienced investors think about real estate, what strategies they deploy, etc. And that's how I ran into someone in a podcast that ended up hiring as my coach. His name is Jeff Woods. He's based in St. Catharines.
diligence? Have you checked things out? Because
Needed to.
you don't know. Oh, sorry, I was just chatting because you got disconnected for a bit. But I was just
Yeah.
reiterating what you were saying about the importance of mentorship, how it was like that, like having a mentor, like you said, you know, like you have these fears, having a mentor and a community around you helps you understand that, yes, you have these fears. The meaning of these fears is just that, do I know what I need to know to get going? And your mentor helps you, like, okay, this is your fear. Have you done your due diligence? Have you checked this, whatever the fears are? And then also analyzing, is this a real fear, or you're just trying to sabotage yourself and stop yourself from doing it just because it's something new?
Yeah. To me, it was really that was really a revelation, right? Because I was used to doing everything myself, and making sure that I do my research, do my homework, by then make decisions myself, and not really relying on advice, right? And real estate was an example of that. So yeah, so working with a coach was fantastic. And as I don't know where the communication cut, but really getting that unbiased advice, which is not easy to find, I would say, from my experience. And the reality is that when you are starting on something, you are a complete newbie, so you don't really even know what is biased or unbiased advice, right? So that's why, talking to other people and trying to understand, okay, getting some references from who you're going to be working with is very important. But again,
Yeah,
working
that's a
with this
very great
mentor.
point. Sorry, that's a very great point that you're making because it's true. I think as a new investor, like you said, you're always going to be like you're not going to know what you know, and it's going to be a bit of a trial period trying to find. And don't get discouraged because as you go, you talk to different people or you talk to different mentors, do you really start narrowing down what it is that you actually want, like what you did, like that you found a mentor that really works for you.
Exactly, yeah. So getting that unbiased advice and having my mentor really point me in the right direction, and taking his advice in terms of, okay, think about, this area, think about this type of property, this type of value added opportunity. That was really fantastic. Yeah. So, and then it was all about the other thing that I found from a transformational point of view is that you really have to be humble enough to realize that there are a lot of things that you don't know, and there are a lot of areas where you really have to take action and plunge into it, and be understand that you're going to run into difficulties for sure. I mean, we had lots of problems, but that's how you learn. And that's probably the only way to do it, right? To take action, regardless of the fear, and then running into all sorts of problems with the right mindset that, hey, these problems, number one, are going to appear. And number two is going to be a blessing, because by dealing, and solving those problems, that's really the only way that you're going to learn, right? As we
100%.
always talk, I mean, the real estate is, I think it's a relatively simple business compared to other stuff that I've dealt with in my life, for example, in corporate careers. But at the same time, it's not easy. So it is simple, but it's not easy. And nothing replaces experience, right? And nothing replaces that good mentor advice that can help you, go through that experience as fast as you can, right? And minimize your risks, right? Because when you're getting into something new, I mean, sometimes I have the analogy that, hey, you have to put the stairs on the right wall. And if you keep putting stairs in different walls just to realize that, okay, this wasn't really the right wall, I have to take it down, put it again in a different place, etc. It just makes the whole learning process until you find something that works for you much longer. But at least if you have the right advice and you are putting the stairs on the right wall because there is a real opportunity there, then it's a matter of welcoming all the problems and trying to, to learn as much as you can for your next deal, right?
100%. Completely agree. It is. And it's something that we have to get used to, like you said, right? Like get used to the problems coming up, because in everything there's always going to be problems coming up. But the nice thing is the problems that come up, if you've learned from them, you will learn to mitigate them or completely stop them from happening. And if anything, you'll start growing, because the problems you'll see will be completely different new problems. And as you level up, you will see that the problems become different. And the problems, I feel like, I don't know about you, but the problems in the past probably don't seem that big to you anymore, do they? Like, I feel very
No.
silly for some of the problems that I used to stress about and get upset about. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, that's so silly for me to think that was a problem. What about you?
Yeah, no, totally. It's really understanding that and putting yourself in that right mindset, right? That, hey, problems are going to appear for sure, and problems needs to be welcome and needs to be seized as the opportunity to learn and get better, right? Get excited about, solving the problem and trusting that, okay, by solving that problem, you're going to get into, further on, bigger problems, and that's how the process works, right? But if you're in a mindset where you want to have it easy and avoid problems and plan for everything to go right or as best possible, and every time that you have a misturn or a problem, you get mad or you get depressed, etc., that's never going to work. That's really a recipe for you to get disappointed, to get discouraged, and basically quit, right? And as you have seen, and I've talked, in 5 years, I met lots of investors. I talked to a lot of people. And actually, I would say, I don't know if anyone measures, but the failure rate, I would say, is pretty high, right? In terms of people that delve into real estate. Maybe they buy one property here with one strategy, another property there with another strategy, maybe a third one, but then they are spread all over. They have almost no cash flow, and then they run into a really bad contractor or a bad tenant situation, and they just said, okay, they just run for the hills, right, and sell everything, and they swear not to ever get into real estate again. So that happens to a lot of people. So I think the right mindset is knowing that, hey, problems are gonna appear. Problems are to be welcome. You have to learn from them, and then you're gonna be more confident, and you're gonna do better deals, and every deal is gonna be better based on the previous experience. But with the reality is that, I noticed, especially with newies, how you talk to a lot of people and they basically want to have it both ways, right? They want to find the right strategy, the right plan, and they want everything to go smooth and minimize risk. And yeah, you know what, that's not how life works, right? So unfortunately, that's not how life works. So I think it's that mindset. And again, finding that right unbiased advice that is not easy on this industry. I found that, a lot of people are, there's so many, also big commissions that can be made in real estate, that there are a lot of incentives out there for people not to give you the right advice just for their own gain, right? So it is a challenge out there for sure, right? It's not easy, but it's doable.
Yeah. And I would say for that's when it becomes very important to know what your criteria is, and don't let anyone stop you from getting that. Because like you said, like a realtor can be like, hey, like this is what the price is and this what it is. And because they'll like really stand their grounds and like only let you buy at what they want. And sometimes you have to be either like, I'm going to have to go somewhere else, or or like not working with them, you know, like go to a different property or not even work with them at all. Because it is like some people just are standing their ground, but you yourself also need to stand your ground, because if you know what your criteria is for buying a house, you kind of got to
Yeah.
stick with it. Because I actually, it's funny saying, I'm going through that problem right now with a realtor. And so it's just kind of to the point that I'm probably going to just make the offer myself and just not use him again. It's like he basically says, like, I am not going to write that offer for you. So it's just like, okay, I guess I'll have to do it myself then. But now,
Yeah, you actually hit.
Sorry?
No, sorry, you hit into an important point, which is defining those thresholds, right? So in our case, as an example, was properties that we can add value, that we can convert, of course, to a 2-unit or a 3-unit. And the results after refinance had to be at least $500 or more cash flow and at least 30% return on investment capital coming from the free cash flow and the mortgage appreciation, and the mortgage pay down, but not from appreciation. So every opportunity, I run the numbers through those lenses, and I let the numbers, basically the facts, decide, okay, are we gonna move forward with the next step, which is, making an offer, etc., or not. Having those thresholds very, very clear is extremely important. I didn't realize how important it was, but it's super important, because if you don't have that, then you may wanna, kid yourself and something that is not really an opportunity. You may dismiss it altogether because you didn't run the numbers and there is something on the property that you don't like, or you may like the property and then unconsciously you are forcing the numbers to make it look reasonable. But no, just stick with those thresholds. Be objective as much as you can and stick to those thresholds. So when you have those thresholds, and those thresholds should be good enough, right, to make a strong business case, then it becomes a numbers game. That means that you have to look at lots of deals, you have to look at lots of, run lots of analysis, you have to make lots of offers and try to get the property at the price that works for you. Maybe even if you get that and you get it under contract, then you do your due diligence and you realize that, okay, your renovation is actually going to cost you much more than you expected. So then you back out of the deal, or you try to renegotiate the price. It's really going through that process. And as I said, it's a numbers game. It's a funnel. You have to look at lots of opportunities to find those that meet the criteria. But if you are, you're a little bit lazy and you don't look at a lot of deals, then that's not the numbers games is going to play against you, right? You're going to try to force yourself to find an opportunity in the 2 or 3 properties that you saw, right? So that's definitely not going to work. And you mentioned in terms of working with realtors, so it's super important, and I do work with a realtor, but for sure, you have to be very demanding and hopefully have someone that understands and work with your criteria, because if not, you're going to be probably pushed to, make offers on the first property on the first property or the second property or even the third property that you saw, and likely the opportunity is not going to be there, right? Not every deal out there really works for a strategy that you may pick, right? So
100%. And now getting to your future. So what is that big goal that you're wanting to work towards? And what kind of changes are you starting to do now to get to those big goals that you have? And your big goals can be personal and business.
Yeah. Just to go back a little bit to get to your point, but yes, in our case, we wanted to create that cash flow that will cover our living expenses, and as I said, we were able to get it by early this year. We started investing in Wetlands, and we did quite a few deals there. Right now, we own 7 properties in that area after selling 3. 1 last year and 2 at the beginning of this year, but we put all the focus on these conversions until the end of 2020 in Welland. Start 2021, when prices started to go up, then the numbers didn't work as we expected. Granted that at the end, 2021, prices continued to go up, right? So if you had bought something, it would have worked anyway, right? But the reality is that the numbers were very tight, so we started looking at other areas, and that's how in early 2021 we actually shifted the focus and we found Calgary as an opportunity. So in 2021 we bought 5 properties in Calgary with a similar strategy to what we have done in Welland, but not the same strategy. That's also something that I learned, right? That one strategy that may work really well in one market may not work on a different market. So in Calgary, we ended up really buying these legal duplexes as a turnkey opportunity because the numbers really work very well. And at the same time, it was significantly less effort for us because we are here and we cannot oversee the renovations or do the property management as we do in Welland. We really had to make sure that the numbers would work with a property manager. And then if it's already a turnkey solution where everything works and we don't have to do a renovation, even better, right? So we found such an opportunity in Calgary. So that's what we did in 2021. So then come early this year, we got to that point where I say, hey, we have enough cash flow coming in that really give us the opportunity to quit my job, which is what I'm planning to do soon. So I'm almost there. I like my job. I work in large corporations for over 25 years, and I enjoyed and I did really well, but I had enough of it. The last 5 years, started to focus on real estate and learning this that for my wife and I was our very first entrepreneurial adventure, and learning from it and seeing how powerful it is. It really started to, my focus and my passion to shift from being a corporate person and just putting all the energy and passion on my job to putting my passion on developing something that is ours, right? So that's why, my job, I now do not enjoy it as I enjoyed in the past, just because the passion is not there, right? Just because my dreams, my passion now are somewhere else where I can have my own business and I can live life on my terms, and not really work for someone else. It has been great until now because, I make decent money, and actually my T4s allow me to qualify for all the properties that we bought. So it has been excellent from that point of view. But now we're really very, very close to making that big transition, which is very exciting. Also a little bit scary for sure, because we're all creatures of habit, right? So to me, quitting my full-time job is going to be a big transition for sure. But I'm excited about it.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely very scary, but at the same time, and I think everyone does this. Like, you'll quit your job, and then probably like a week, you'll like enjoy it for like a week or two, and then you completely stress and be like, "What the hell did I do?" And
I
then you're
know.
like, "Okay, let's get to work."
Yeah, I know myself. Something that really worked for me all my life is time constraints. I was always busy, and even the little time that I devoted to real estate, I had to make sure that is super productive and effective, just because of time constraints, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, if I quit my job and I have, much more time on my hands, it's exciting, but also scary because I'm a little bit afraid of myself. How I'm going to react to this? What if I don't have much to do? I have to find something to do. So that's my challenge. But anyway, that's where we're working, because I never really thought about quitting my job as retiring. There is a little bit of that for sure in terms of financial freedom, but I don't think of this as retirement. I think of this as a transition to putting even more time to work on real estate, right? To make this a a business that I can be passionate about. Hopefully, spending significantly less hours than what I was spending in the past when I consider, my job and my real estate, and being able to spend more time with the family. I have
100%.
two boys. My kids right now are 12 and 13 years old. They still want to hang out with dad, which is awesome. But I don't want to wait to do this until, let's say, they are 18 or 20, where they are probably already on their own and they wouldn't like to spend that much time with dad, right? So.
Yeah. That's awesome. I know you have to go because it's already 1:30, but it was really awesome to hear your stories, for the audience to get to know you, and just to hear how far you've gone, and excited for you to retire. We'll definitely be hearing when whatever retirement is. That's what actually I was going to say, that make retirement more just retiring from the 9 to 5 to now what you want to do, and designing the life, like you said, on your own terms, which is what we're all trying to do.
I'm sorry that the technology didn't help us earlier, so now we didn't have much time, but maybe we can continue some other time. Like, we have big plans, and as I shared with you earlier, I mean, right now we're planning to live 1 year in the Dominican Republic. I think that is primarily a lifestyle decision that we are all very excited about in my family. So it's going to be a great adventure, we hope, while we continue managing, our properties from a distance. So I think it's going to be a great in terms of lifestyle decision, but I think it's also going to be good because I see lots of real estate opportunities there too. That maybe we can talk some other time, but there are lots of opportunities there, I think. So we'll see how it goes. Still lots to learn.
100%. Thank you so much for sharing your stories. It's so much. And so if you guys want to connect with Sergio, he's going to be linked on the video. So start following him, because you're going to get to see all the amazing things that he's up to. Thank you so much, Sergio, for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Diana.
everyone for watching, and we'll see you all in the next episode. Bye, everyone. Bye, Sergio.
Bye-bye, guys.